Fishy Business is a top-down fishing game in which the player fishes for a variety of aquatic creatures, expanding their inventory and eventually selling their catches to earn money and upgrade their items. This video will demonstrate and analyze Fishy Business by presenting its setting, a demonstration of the gameplay and player experience, a post-mortem analysis, before finally concluding. The setting of Fishy Business takes place in a peaceful oasis that serves as a home to the player's shanty, a lively lake, flourishing greenery, and a little shop, reflecting the game's relaxing atmosphere and naturey aesthetics. The main mechanics of Fishy Business include exploring, fishing, selling, and buying. These mechanics all combine to form the player's experience. In the overworld, the player is able to walk around and freely explore, visiting areas all around the lake. Here, the player may approach the lake and interact with it in order to initiate the fishing minigame. Once within the fishing minigame, the player waits for a fish to swim into view before casting out and hoping for a bite. Whenever a fish takes the bait, the player will left-click to hook the fish and then begin reeling it in. It's important to note the tension meter that appears on screen after hooking a fish. The player must keep the line's tension low, in the green area, and reach the bottom of the meter in order to successfully catch the fish. However, if the line reaches full tension, by entering into the red area, then the fishing line will snap and the fish will be completely lost. Once caught, the fish will automatically be added to your inventory. The player may continue fishing to further expand their inventory and collection, or they may exit back into the overworld. Upon returning to the overworld, the player is able to access their inventory to see and arrange their items. The player may also access the shop if they wish to spend any of their earned money. This money can be used to purchase upgrades from the shop, such as upgraded rods, lines, or bait, which increase the luck and ease of catching more fish in the fishing minigame, and thus earning the player more money to buy more upgrades. To kick off the postmortem analysis, we want to first ask the question of what exactly went right in producing this game. Before beginning production, our team divided up responsibilities by assigning the roles of 2 artists and 3 programmers. This worked even better than we had initially expected. By splitting up the specific tasks and assigning them to different group members, we were able to mitigate much of the stress that comes with the insurmountable task of creating an entire video game. This also allowed our work to flow better, as coordinating who did what kept our team organized as a whole and ensured that something was always being worked on so as to not waste time. Another aspect we succeeded in is art. Our team was able to create numerous assets, whether it be trees, fish, environmental tile sets, or anything else. The art quickly came together to form a cohesive visual experience that reflected exactly the type of lively and relaxing aesthetic that we had hoped for. A third aspect that we felt succeeded was the fish's behavior in the fishing minigame, as we used programming to nearly perfect the movement of the fish and make their swimming patterns similar to real living fish.
Here are some of the things that went wrong with our process. One of the main issues our team encountered was overscoping. Our first few meetings consisted solely of building an entire world with far too many aspects than we had time for. We planned on developing different characters, fishing areas, items, NPCs, and other entities without taking into consideration the development time these features added to our short window of production. Because of this, our team got caught up with what tasks to prioritize first, and ultimately, we were unable to include everything we had planned for. Our team was able to overcome this issue by eventually butchering some of the features that were not considered part of the core gameplay. We went about implementing only the aspects of the game that were necessary for it to function, while also trying to give players a positive experience and satisfying feedback loops, such as the fishing minigame, inventory system, and shop system.
Due to the fact our team's main issue was overscoping, the majority of the changes we made was just downsizing the assets we have, current scenes we have, current functions we have, and we also got rid of a lot of ideas we had just because we didn't have time to implement them. For example, we ultimately ended up cutting out different fishing areas of the game just due to time constraints. Instead of trying to rush those and produce a sloppy product, we'd rather stick to something more minimal and, keep close what our initial vision was. What we learned was we had to keep our time constraints in mind at all times. We learned that overscoping does nothing but waste time, though it was good to explore the different ideas. When it came to planning for functions and assets and items and all that we thought we wanted into the game, instead of exploring those more, we should have waited till we had the proper initial gameplay loop and assets done and decided on before we started talking about anything additional. By setting goals that are realistic and actually attainable within the given time span that we have and that we allow ourselves, the game development process becomes more achievable and less stressful, basically. Divide and conquer. We split up tasks, and between all the group members, this allowed us to work on several tasks at once. We learned that this is a very helpful method. We also learned to always work ahead. Time flies by pretty quickly. When we thought we had a good amount of time, a couple months, that's why we overscoped, but we realized that time does fly. Working ahead ensures that team members won't really fall behind in the game making process and become overworked or burnt out by the end stages of the development.
To wrap up our presentation, we want to touch on the experience we had working as a team to create our game. Overall, our team had a great experience with creating Fishy Business. We enjoyed the experience of building a whole video game completely from scratch, and although challenging, the project served as a great learning experience for each and every member. It was gratifying to plan out every step of the process and see our vision for the game come to fruition in the end.